Awareness is who and what I am. I am not the possessor of it. I am not the container of it. Awareness is life itself. And life is living right here, right now. And that is who and what I am. I am not one to whom it has been given. So, we awaken to what identity is not. Identity is not the recipient of awareness. Why, identity is awareness itself. Do you realize? Stop just for a minute and see where theology has gone astray in this illustration. Theology has imbued us from the very word go with the belief that life has been given to us. And so that has an us who is the recipient of life. Therefore it's custodian and caretaker and must do this and that and the other thing. Well, that's bad enough. But my gosh, look what that also does. It has us worshiping a giver. A giver. A giver of life. A giver that doesn't even exist. It has us worshiping a false God. Not God. A false God. Yet all the while, awareness itself, life itself, is God. Awareness is God. God is this awareness that's being aware. Right here, right now. Never have I been the recipient of it. And all the time that I believed I was a recipient of it, I was learning that that recipient was an impossible imposter. And I had to learn the lesson in order to know infinitely what life is, what identity is. And all this time it had me worshiping a bestowing God that was not God at all. Worshipping and is not God in order to know fully, completely what God really is. To know it infinitely what it is. Beyond intellectuality what it is. All right, what have I said? It's so simple that if you'll just listen with the heart and don't just listen. It's so simple. Don't grab it hard. Touch it very gently, and don't try to rattle the gates. Just tap very gently. Don't clutch this to yourself. Just be it. All I've said was that this awareness that's aware right here, right now, that is also called consciousness, also called life, is what deity or divinity or isness is. Never have we been separated from it or apart from it. Never have we been anything but it. There is now only left to do to let go of that old aspect, the old man, the old nature that would deny it. It would deny it. And sometimes we will deny it 3 times or 4 or 3,000. And we'll hear all kinds of roosters crowing. But sooner or later we find out, and we live this experience until we live it perfectly. The uttermost farthing must be paid, and the uttermost farthing is the absolute surrender of this grand, vaunted self that says, my awareness, my life, my beautiful. Now please understand, that still leaves a body with a name ricocheting around. Oh, we still go by the name of Bill or David or Jack or Ruth or Suzanne. We still go by all this name. But all the while we identify as isness itself, about the business of perceiving itself, about allness viewing its own infinity, To use the analogy of the principle of arithmetic, the principle of arithmetic would be forever looking out at its own infinity as it discloses itself to itself. And this appears as a multitude of systems, as a multitude of signs and symbols and letters, and addition and subtraction, and astronomy and physics and chemistry, and it reveals itself in a myriad of ways. But all the time it is the self come to disclose the self to the self. And we let go this vaunted me, says mine. This is the one that has us fall away. I tell you that as we get rid of it, you're going to find your joy expanding. Instead of just the little boy as he walks along and drags his stick along the fence making a little melodious sound, instead of that relieving your heart for a minute, you'll find that it will relieve your heart for an hour. And pretty soon you will find that it doesn't take just, I mustn't use these terms, that love is infinite and not limited, not bound to the relationship of male and female. That love goes, that there is love in the view of a flower, there's love in the touch of a hand, there's love in the sight of a blue sky, there's love in a fog that rolls in, that it's inescapable, that it's ever present. To the extent that we let go of this big vaunted me, the ego, the personal sense of self, we find our joy expanding in proportion, in a direct proportion, in a mathematically precise proportion, until such time as it seems that it's almost inescapable, until we recognize really that it is inescapable, that it really was the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, as it's put in the Bible. It was the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, not just a part of it, a chunk of it, a piece of it, and not just an imperfect part of it to be made over, but a very perfect kingdom, entirely. Every dollar that exists in all the universe exists within and has this awareness. And all that we ever need will be present in our experience. Surely we can understand that the alphabet has all of the letter A's that it ever needs. Since it's being an infinity of the letter A's, it never runs out of them. It has all of the letters Z's and R's and T's and X's that it ever needs. If you want to write a simple sentence that says, whatever the simple sentence is, that I love children, or listen to the kids. And I think we ought to, incidentally. Whatever it says, the alphabet's got all the letters that it ever needs. They're there. Awareness includes all that is sufficient under the moment. And our joy expands as we let go of the ego, that vaunted sense of self. It says, my life. Never has there really been a me who says mine. But we try to live its role in order to know infinitely and to know that such a one is impossible. I'm talking here not metaphysics, I'm talking physics. I'm talking that point at which physics becomes metaphysics. So if you can see that you can take an external image and you can see the vision of love or life on the outside, and then you can in memory, what you call memory, which is simply imagery within. If you can take the outside and make it as the inside, then I tell you that the inside can also become outside. And just let me demonstrate how the inside becomes the outside. Because it's so simple as to be unbelievable. And this is why one must be cautious about what comes out of the mouth. And why one must be utterly honest to the best of his ability in what he's saying. And not to write or speak about things that he doesn't know. Now, it's all right within a group to write and speculate and theorize, and in order to arrive at a conclusion, in order to come to some idea. But if you're in a position where you find yourself out speaking with authority, let it be what you know. Otherwise, you are genuinely playing the role of a false prophet. But now let me show you how the inside becomes the outside. I would invite you, for example, to look at your feet. All right, now everybody can look at their feet and you see shoes there. Now, first, there was the determination within that you needed a pair of shoes. There was a determination within. It was an idea within, that their shoes were necessary. After all, it seems like in society you wear shoes, or that the pavement's hot, or that you need something to go with this dress or that suit. All right? Now, those shoes are the consequence of a words that came out of your mouth. You went somewhere and said, I want that pair of shoes. Yes, those are fine. Those fit. Those are just right. But you said something. A tangible word, but it came from within, and then a word was uttered. I assure you said something, and you wouldn't be wearing those shoes. Now, I would say that to look at the dress that you've got on, the earrings, the glasses you're wearing, the rings, everything you see, David, about this room, and Suzanne and all the rest of you, is because in one way or another you determined within yourself first that this was the place to be or to come or to hear, and something was then said and done that now produces what appears to be what you see. So the inside has become as the outside. David did say, yes, I want that house. Look at the one you call mate. The one that you call your own your external self-fulfillment, your external self-completion. Words came out of your mouth that said, yes, I do. It is the words that have come out of our mouths that appear to have us in what appears to be this tangible situation. Now, if our situation appears to be distraught and unfulfilled and all botched up and all out of kilter in one way or another, what is the sensible thing to do? It's to go to the inside and see the beauty and the perfection of it, and then let the utterances of our mouth coincide with that perfection and beauty and harmony and perfection. And then, lo and behold, we see the outside becoming as the inside. And this is why in the meditative writing, so that it won't be a crutch, and so that people won't use it as just a means to overcome some trial or tribulation, so that it'll be more than a way to find peace. But I must very cautiously point out that we write always from the standpoint of that inner, absolute, intangible, ineffable, perfect isness that is the fact and the only fact in all existence. First, wherein there is no imperfection, no lie, no liar. Nothing that needs to be taught, nothing that needs to be known, nor understood. But we will start out from an ineffable isness first. And then let the utterances of our mouth coincide. And this is why in all of the philosophies of the world it has been said, let your conversation be, it would be great to limit it to yea, yea, and nay, nay. Keep it down to yea, yea, nay, nay. It would be a lot better to keep your mouth shut in most circumstances than it would be to stand up and do a lot of yakking such as I'm doing. And may I point out one other thing. Now this is most important from the standpoint of instructions and instructors. Mm-hmm. You will notice that as you look around and see all of the tangible evidences of this now, and the clothing that you wear this now, and the rings on your fingers this now, and the wife this now, or the husband this now, and the feelings this now, that whose words seem to be the cause of it, the producer of it, somebody else's, your own. Your own. Not Mrs. Eddy's words, or Joel Goldsmith's words, or Marie Watts' words, or Ernest Holmes' words, or Mary Baker Eddy's, or Jesus, or Lao Tzu's, but your own words. Somebody else didn't say I do that got you into some kind of a binding marriage contract, into an institution that would appear, if you wanted to believe it, that it can lead you around by the nose. Until you learn that dominion lies here as I, not there as that. It was your own words that put your dollars in certain places and invested it here or there that would appear to be the bind until such time as you recognize that the institution called the financial institution resides here is I, and the authority is here is I, and not out there is that. Here is I. And so this is why our own words we must be extremely careful. Jesus made the remark. You know, he said, listen, what you hear in one ear, well, the Bible has it one way, but in Thomas it's the right way, the way he fully said it. He said, what you hear in one ear, when you hear it confirmed in the other ear, that speak you from the housetops. Now, at the moment, it would appear that you are hearing from the outside in. You're looking out at an image. And you're looking out at an external aspect of yourself, disclosing yourself to yourself. Don't buy it. Don't believe it until you hear it confirmed within and hear it in the other ear. When the heart sings in response, when all of a sudden you say within yourself, aha, then you've heard it in both ears. Then you can open your mouth and talk about it and speak with authority. And this is why I cannot with any honesty ever tell anybody, look, boy, I'm telling you the truth. All I can do is say, listen, and if you hear it confirmed within, not now necessarily, but maybe a week from now, or a month from now, or a year from now, when you hear it confirmed within, then you have the right to speak and to tell somebody else about it. And then your words will be heard with some degree of authority. And this is why I say that when you write, if you write not from the position of one trying to teach somebody, but you sit and understand that there's really only one identity on the scene, that's God, for which this awareness is the self-seeing going on, which means that this awareness is infinite wisdom itself. Infinite wisdom itself. Okay, you assume the identity as infinite wisdom and write as infinite wisdom to yourself. And write only what you have heard confirmed in the other ear, that is what you've lived. And can speak not what you're theorizing about, but what you've taken out and lived it. Because I've lived an awful lot of contradistinction. That is, I have lived an awful lot of paradox. I have lived an awful lot of lies. And walked down many blind paths as appearances go. That is Bill Samuel had. That allows Bill Samuel to stand up and say, now this is what I've heard in both ears. And this is what has apparently opened up in this arena, right here, in this world. A harmony that is just so fantastic that I can't even find the words to say it. And yet I try to say it because it seems sensible, because in the telling of it, it seems that it helps that aspect of myself out there also see it and hear it and feel it and find it and be it and have the courage to do it